Economics for Everyone, Micro and Macro by Stanley Thuku Waithaka. When the market forces of aggregate demand and aggregate supply are free, the market price and market quantity will always be at equilibrium. But this is not the case in some cases, especially when there is interference. And one such interference is where the government imposes what we call a price floor. This is in relation to wages. The government sets the minimum wages that must be paid to the employees by the employers. And when this minimum wage is set, it is normally, or rather if the minimum wage is set above the equilibrium, it will be at a disequilibrium. And when it's above, as you can see on the diagram, it is above, the quantity of labor supplied will be very high, as you can see, QS, or the quantity of labor demanded by the employers will be low. Employers will not be able to afford that. Now, there will be excess supply of labor. Too many people will be desperate to supply labor, and this will cause some problems. Since employees are desperate for a job, or to be in employment, there will be discrimination in employment. Some employers will discriminate who they employ, either from their own area, their own, there will be some form of discrimination. The other thing is that there will be a black market whereby the employees will be forced to accept the equilibrium wage and keep quiet. That means they don't report to the government department, that is the labor department, that they are getting lower wages than the recommended wages by the government. So there will be a black market. Remember, this is where the minimum wage which is set by the government is above the market equilibrium wage, leading to excess supply of labor, because the wage is very attractive, and at the same time less demand for labor. Employers cannot afford, so there will be excess supply, and therefore those problems of discrimination and employees paying less wages than the recommended wages by the government tend to rise. Now, the other situation of control is where the government sets the maximum price or price ceiling. And this is best explained where we have rental houses controlled by the government. The government sometimes imposes a rent ceiling, which is also known as rent control, to protect its poor. It has good intentions. It wants people to live in decent accommodation. And through government corporations like Botswana Housing Corporation, BHC, and other housing corporations worldwide, the government will build affordable houses for its citizens for sale or rental. And it will set the maximum rent or selling price for these houses, which is normally below the equilibrium rent. That is the market rate. And it means that the demand for these houses is very high. higher than the supply. There is excess demand for these BHC houses, Botswana Housing Corporation houses, for example. And this causes some problems. One, there will be discrimination in the allocation of houses. There will be some form of discrimination. Some people being denied houses not because of they don't qualify, but maybe because they are not known to the people allocating houses, or some form of discrimination. The other problem is where some people will be allocated the houses and they don't stay in those houses. Instead, they lend them at market prices, which are normally higher. At net market price, which are normally higher than the minimum rent which is imposed by the government, which would be illegal, of course. So the tenant will be paying the people who have rented them the house, and these people will be paying the government less, so they make some money. There can also be, a situation whereby landlords or the owners of houses, especially there's a case in Tanzania where even the private sector is affected, where the owners of houses ask for very large deposit for even 1 whole year or 6 months to compensate for the low rentals. These are some of the issues that will arise. Remember, if the market was free, the market forces would push everything to the equilibrium. But in this case, the market forces are not free. They are not free, as we are seeing on the graphs, where that there is excess demand for these cheap government houses for rent or for purchase, and this leads to such problems. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to click on the like and the subscribe button below. The book is on special at Amazon.com for only $1.99 US. Feel free to give your comment and keep tuned for the next video.